Senator Mockler. Thank you, Chair. Good evening, and welcome to this evening, where we are discussing Bill C-13. The C-13 grants the Treasury Board delegation powers, and to Heritage Canada the task of implementing certain parts of the Act. If I understand your comments correctly, you would like Treasury Board to have even more power in terms of implementing Bill C-13. Professor Cardinal, when they appeared before the committee, said that this would be catastrophic and difficult to implement. I would like to hear your opinion or your views on these divergent perspectives that were presented both here and in the other places committee. Answer. If you turn to tab 9, you will find a very targeted extract of this debate on this very issue. It's a fascinating exchange between Lucien Bouchard, Senator de Bannet, who are discussing how to coordinate the Act, which went back to 1969 and had no coordination in its text. And on page 3 at tab 9, what you can see at the bottom is that Senator de Bannet, who is relating the proposals, the comments of Gérard Pelletier, who at that time was saying it had to be Treasury Board, that we shouldn't take any chances. And ultimately, Parliament concludes that Treasury Board should be enabled to play the role, a coordinating role, if it chooses to. So at the time, Senator de Bannet said, and I quote, "Allow me to tell you that personally, I am quite pessimistic about the impulse that the Secretary of State, which became Heritage Canada, might have with such a diluted article, or section rather. I can tell, as the section stands, all it is going to do is cause you frustration." Madam Senator, the Official Languages Commissioner has been producing report after report after report for decades. Finally, the alarm has sounded across the country. We are losing the use of the French language. So the Canadian government has to spend the money properly and meet the stated aims of the Official Languages Act. So it doesn't mean Treasury Board representatives have to go out to meet with Acadians or whomever else in the country. Of course not. But and that would whoever is saying that is inducing the committee into error, which surely in good faith. But when a federal department is not or agency is not doing its job, should someone else intervene, or should we just hope that cross our fingers and hope that the courts will assist us? Should the federal government intervene as needed before the Official Languages Commissioner has to intervene, and well before the federal court? And people like my colleagues who are here with me today, and myself. Thank you. Do you have any comments, Mr. Doucet, on that topic? Well, as I said earlier in my presentation, I am not opposed to having Treasury Board govern this act. I think it's an idea that's been discussed for many years, but perhaps we should be more realistic given our experience. I have learned that no matter which organization is managing the act, if there aren't specific measures in place to ensure that that organization does the job, nothing will change. Ultimately, all you do is ask a different organization to do the same work that was not done by previous ones. Now, the Act can stipulate those responsibilities. Now, we may find ourselves before the courts once again, but what's important to me is that we find a way to ensure that the organization that is going to ensure that governance and oversee it does so seriously and provides the political leadership that needs to be exercised, or the policy leadership. Thank you. Mr. Power, we hear from some witnesses that Heritage Canada is the best equipped to do this work because of its skills. Some say that the most competent department to do this work is Canadian Heritage, which understands community needs and so forth. So I understand your comments, Mr. Power, but perhaps we should add these thoughts about the skills, the abilities, and the knowledge that reside within Canadian Heritage as compared to Treasury Board Secretariat. I'll begin with the first part. I agree, of course, with Maître Doucette as that political leadership is important. It may even be a necessary condition, the legislative framework as well. However, Senator Moncion, what is quite fascinating here is that the political leadership has been demonstrated. In the binder before you, at tab 13, you can see the most relevant extract from the Canadian government's white paper, this expression of political leadership, and then at the back you can see a concrete political promise, black on white. One single central agency, a single minister, horizontal coordination for the strategic role of coordination, not sending out checks, coordinating. That is, one single minister will be responsible for that. Bill C-13 does not do that. So let's talk about political commitment. I expect the Canadian government, when they are asked to do something, and there is a huge gap between Bill C-13 and the words spoken by this government, perhaps it's an error, but if the House of Commons committee does not correct this problem, I heartily recommend this committee to do so.